everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Carrie and you are hanging out with Booked for Romance. And today I am going to be featuring my very first reading vlog. Yes, it's my very first one. And there's a couple reasons why I've decided this is going to be my first reading vlog. And there's two reasons. One, it's going to be a book outside my comfort zone. And I feel like when I do a reading vlog, or if I was gonna do a reading vlog, I wanted it to do something that wasn't gonna be one where I'm like, oh, I loved it, it was so great and wonderful and things like that. Like, I wanted to push the boundaries of what I'm comfortable with reading. The second reason why this is gonna be on my first reading vlog is because we are going to be interviewing this author, and I'm very excited to be interviewing her on March 25th with my girls from the Romance Book Squad, and this is the fabulous Pam Godwin. And I'm really excited to kick into these, to read them, to share them with you guys, and then to be able to talk to her, because like, how often do you guys get to read the author's books and then get to hang out with them? So I feel very fortunate to be able to hang out with these authors, talk what they were thinking while they were writing the books, things along those lines. Now, before we kick into this reading vlog, because there's a lot I want to talk about, the first thing I'm going to talk about is triggers. There are a ton of triggers through this. Please, please, if you want to know them, look them up. I will say a couple because there are quite a few. This is a dark historical romance. With that being said, there is abuse, there is rape, there is other triggers in here that you definitely need to be aware of before you dive into this book. I'm a person who fully supports knowing trigger warnings before you go into a book. I know some people don't want to know, but I'm a person that needs to know. So I'm giving you the same courtesy if you need to know as well. Also, I am going to be reading these books. There's going to be two books that she wrote. There's a prequel and a novel that we are going to be reading. It is The King of Libertines, which I'll put right here, and then also The Sea of Ruin, which I'll also put right here. So we are going to be kicking into these. I have a good friend on Instagram. Her name is Christy I Reads. Christy I Reads a lot. That is her Instagram name. If I did get that wrong, I'll put it in the description down below. She had recommended to me that I should read chapter 1 through 5 first from Sea of Ruin, then kick into the prequel of The King of Libertines, and then go back and finish up the rest of the Sea of Ruin. And I like that idea, so it's not, I like kind of a timeline to be cohesive, and I'm really down with that. Like, if you ever read Sarah J. Maas books, which everybody knows, I love Sarah J. Maas. They said that, I think it was the Queen of Showers and the Tower of Dawn, there's a way to read them together, and I'm all about mixing books in the same timelines. I think that's really cool. I think the authors were brilliant in doing that, and I love that. So I definitely want to try to give that a read that way, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, you guys, I am sticking this somewhere in the video in the beginning. I want to let you know there will be spoilers throughout this video. I was trying to think of a way to like do this vlog without spoilers, and there's none. There's absolutely no way I could give my opinion about this book without giving my spoilers. So please go read The King of Libertine, which is the prequel, and The Sea of Ruin, and then come back and watch this. I do highly recommend you read chapter 1 through 5 first for The Sea of Ruin. Slip in The King of Libertine, which is only about 45 pages, which is the prequel, between those two chapters of 5 and 6, and then pick up with 6 again. But other than that, yes, come back and we'll see you soon. Now, before we get started, there's a couple of things that, since I mentioned things outside my comfort zone, these are them. I am not a huge fan of reading any sort of abuse. So any sort of rape or any sort of, you know, mental, physical, whatever along those lines, it's hard for me. So it's definitely seeing what kind of reader knowing what it is and walking into it. I want to see if it changes my perspective of if I'm able to read it, knowing the triggers before going in there, instead of just reading it blind and then being like, really upset about it. You know what I'm saying? Also, there is there is a menage in here, and I'm gonna be real honest with you. I tend not to read books with menages. It's just not something I'm heavy. It's just not something I'm really interested in. For me, like a big trope I don't like is cheating. And sometimes with menages, I feel like it's hard for me to not see a form of cheating. I don't know. But for me, it's very hard to get into menages. If you love menages, that's awesome. Like, I know a lot of people do. So it's just one of those things that I tend not to love to read, but we will see. So I'm going into this with an open mind. I will tell you if you love menages, I will try to give a rating based off of if you would love a menage, you'll love this. And then I'll also rate if you are uncomfortable reading menages, then you would like this or not like this. So we will see. It's going to be interesting, guys. I'm not going to lie. I'm going into it very open-minded. I just got off of another book from the Historical Hellions that we're going to read in March. And I'm going to be honest with you, that one, I think by then this will be up. But I'm just saying it was just not, there was a lot of problematic issues in that book. So going from that to this, I feel like it's going to be good transition because that was so not great. And then going into this, I feel like it definitely cleans the palette, and I'm going into this with a very open mind. So we will see how this goes. Yeah, so I'm reading chapter 1 through 5, and I'll get back to you guys. Bye. Okay, you guys, I finished the first 5 chapters of The Sea of Ruin, and a lot has happened. Oh my goodness. I didn't think 5 chapters, it's just introducing things. No, a lot has happened to our main heroine from start to finish. She's really starting off really with a bang. It's just whoa. So it starts off with her mom arranging a marriage for her, and she's being arranged to a marriage to a duke or marquis or something along those lines. And he's 30 years her senior. So she's 14 and he's 30 years older than her. And he's a creepy old man. And she's just oh heck no, this is not going to happen. But so she ends up leaving the house where they're at because they're supposed to do this whole meet and greet and make it official. And she's oh heck no. So she runs into the woods and she ends up stumbling upon her father, who is this pirate lord. And unfortunately for her, the way she left was she ended up stealing her betrothed's horse, and then he ends up going after her. But in the prospect of that, her dad ends up getting captured by him. And then it just from one thing to another, to where once her dad gets captured, she gets taken by the marquis or the duke, whoever that is, and he attempts to rape her. And then after that, it was really cool. She ends up killing him. And then after that, she ends up seeing that once her dad was taken away, he was hung. And then with her and her mom, there wasn't really this good rapport between them. She always thought all her mom wanted to do was sell her off and didn't really love her dad. But in the first 6 chapters, you realize her mom loved her dad with all her heart. And once she finds out that her dad was hung because he was a pirate, she ends up jumping off a cliff, this cliff, because she's so distraught, because the secret was that she knew she was having secret meetings with her dad and her mom would never report them. And it was just so much has happened. Literally, I feel I explained that, but I didn't really explain it. That was just in the first 5 chapters. It literally was just mind-blowing of just everything that went on. And I know I mixed up things and I didn't get it quite right, but it was just one of those things where she has started off this book so well. Oh my gosh. She literally, she has me hooked. So I'll give her that. I am just wow, a lot of stuff has happened. I'm very excited. I'm putting that down now, and then I'm picking up, like I said before, I'm picking up now the prequel, The King of Libertine. So, and it even says, I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Oh wait, hold on. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh wait, It's like, okay, there you go. She even mentions, please read she says, this novella falls between chapter 5 and 6 of Sea and Ruin. So this is from the author, even though my friend Christy had mentioned it as well. I'm glad that's the first page I read. So she wants you to read this between chapter 5 and 6. So I put down 5. I'm going to read this. This is about 75 pages. I will read all of this and then get back to you guys. Otherwise, this is going to be like a 2-hour reading vlog. And I'm like, I feel like I could talk about one chapter and that could take me like 10 minutes because I'm very slow at explaining things, as you can see. So yeah, we'll see how that goes and we'll go from there. Okay. So I will see you after the prequel. Okay, you guys. Okay. I finished the prequel and I have thoughts. I have thoughts about this. So I read The King of Libertine. I'm going to put it right here. And here's the thing, guys. You get to meet characters. These characters, you get to meet the King of Libertine. You get to meet the heroine. You get to meet her first mate. I'm sorry, names are so bad. I'm so bad with names. But you get to meet her first mate, which the first mate and the King of Libertine are half brothers. And it's really interesting, how she wrote it. I don't know how I feel about it. I know the author really wanted you to know these characters or else she wouldn't have written a prequel about them. And I have thoughts. And the first thought is, let's just go down the order of, we'll start with the heroine and work our way down to the other characters I had mentioned. And the heroine, to me, is very trusting. I'm going to say trusting for a pirate captain. She ends up taking on, you meet different crew members and stuff, and I totally get that. You have to bring people aboard your crew and they have to earn your trust, things like that. But for me, she has this compass her dad had given her, and she had not talked about this compass with any of her crew members that had been with her for 5 years. She had not talked about this compass. Well, she runs into the King of Libertine, which I will get to him. And all of a sudden, she's telling him and divulging all this about this compass. And I'm just like, girl, I have not read The Sea of Ruin yet. This is me totally speculating, but that crap is gonna kick her in the back. You just know she's just being way too trusting through the whole prequel. She's just like, oh, I'm gonna tell this to this and I'm gonna just trust him to do this. And I'm just like, girl, you barely know him. And she's already divulging. And this compass, we all know what the compass is. It's the one with the map, that she's trying to open because her dad left it to her. And I'm just thinking to myself, okay, that you're gonna get screwed. We all know this. We all know this. I'm literally starting chapter 6 after this. And I feel so she literally is too trusting. I feel for a pirate captain, you've got to be don't trust anybody. You do your crap. You literally, yes. So that's what I think my thoughts about the heroine. Very naive. Okay, so the first mate comes on. And the first mate and the captain of Libertine are brothers, I think I'd mentioned before. And the first mate, he's very interesting. He's very reserved. We don't know a lot about the first mate yet, but he is warning her against the King of Libertine. He literally says, once you sleep with the King of Libertines, he will cheat and betray you. He literally says that through the prequel. So I'm like, okay, so I don't know if the first mate is going to be someone to trust or someone not to trust. So that's interesting. And then we get to the King of Libertine. Okay, you guys, I love the way he was written. I loved the whole where he was in a brothel and all the girls protected him. I love that. I absolutely adore that. But the dynamic between him and the heroine is very sweet, but I just know, you just know she's writing it to where the King of Libertine is the one that's going to portray her. He literally charmed his way into her life. And it's just I'm just preparing myself for some bad stuff to happen between the two of them. So these are my thoughts. So that it's really short. Like, it's amazing how short the prequel was. I think it was like 45 pages. So really, really short. I really liked how she put it in between chapter 5 and chapter 6, because I feel like that's a really nice setup to like understand the prequel. Because I could see you walking into the prequel and just reading that first, being like, I don't really have any backstories. And like, you won't even know where she got the compass from. So like, that is definitely top notch. So yeah, I just have, for me, I just think about the heroine and I'm just like, no. As a pirate captain, I mean, maybe because she's young, she doesn't have that like common sense factor, but if there was a really dynamic, hot guy and I was the captain trying to like be with me, I would just be like red flags all over the place. So I don't care how beautiful he was. So it's going to be really interesting. I feel like I could see why they did the backstory, because I wanted to see what was going to happen. Because when chapter 6 rolls around, I have a feeling you're not going to hear much about the captain of Libertine. I should really get their names, and the first mate. So I will get their names in chapter 6. But yeah, I feel like their stories probably won't have that much of a backstory, which will be nice. So you can kind of see that she did end up falling in love with him. So we'll see how this goes. Moving on to chapter 6, guys. This is going to be such a long vlog, I have a feeling. Also, I'll probably read 10 chapters, talk about them, read another 10 chapters, talk about it. So we'll go from there. Okay, see you soon. Okay, you guys, I kind of got carried away. I am on chapter 20. I thought I was going to stop at chapter 16 and give you guys an update, but I am on chapter 20 of Sea of Ruin, and wow, a lot has happened. Let's begin with, I totally called about the King of Libertine, or yeah, King of Libertine. I still don't know his name. Gosh, I need to really figure out what his name is. But he ended up becoming her husband, or yeah, like they ended up becoming husband and wife. And what's really interesting is he ended up cheating on her, and she left him at some port, and they kind of started chapter 6 where she ended up running into him again after 2 years because she was so hurt and heartbroken. So and then he ends up stealing the compass. So he ended up, like, I kind of called the fact that he really did end up betraying her, which I thought was really interesting. So yeah, so there was a lot of angst there. There's a lot of things that were happening where he ended up coming back on board because he ended up swiping the compass away from her again. And it was really interesting how she wrote it. I was really intrigued. I am definitely on the edge of my seat the whole time, especially when he was imprisoned by her, because it's really kind of interesting how he tries to seduce her, and she like he is almost her drug, if that makes sense. If you've read this before, you probably understand what I'm talking about. So he's like a drug she can't get out of her system, and every time they get close, they can't really, like, you know, she always gets under like his spell, I guess. So that's how she's writing it. I think it's really, really good. I like that she didn't just be like, oh yeah, come and be with me again after you blatantly cheated on me and are in love with someone else. So I did like that part and that aspect of it where she's giving him hell because he obviously loves someone else and her. So I thought that was good. But yes, there are twists to this that I know it's not going to be just one person and one person fall in love. So it's going to be interesting how she writes this. She also, so there was, what is it? A military ship that ended up tracking them down, and she threw herself overboard to kind of let her ship get away. And now she's a prisoner of the Commodore. And I really like how she's writing this. I am like so intrigued right now. I literally was supposed to stop at 16, went to chapter 20 because I'm listening to it on audio, and like it just kept going and going. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to stop and report to you guys. So yeah, I literally love how it's going. I mean, she's got me hooked. I'm on the edge of my seat. Like the Commodore's laying down the law and boundaries and stuff, and I'm like, this is really interesting. It's very angsty. Yes, I'm very like, oh my gosh, like she almost got raped. Like there's a lot of things happening. So yes. So I will report back. We'll see how it goes. I'll try to hop off again in another 10 chapters. Knowing me, it might be 15 or 20, and I'll report back to you guys and see what's happened since then. So right now she's a prisoner and she's captive. So I will give you an update in a little bit. Okay, you guys, update time. I am on chapter 36. Yes, 36 in my audiobook, and I am just flying through this. So the next update will be probably my final thoughts because you guys, let's be real here. A lot has happened since she's been captured. This is one of those times where I'm like, how much do I say? This is not my area of expertise. Let me tell you, there has been rape. There has been, I think they call it BDSM, maybe. I think that is kind of like the area you would put it under. There has been steam. There has been abuse. There is like literally this book has been nuts. It has been super crazy. So right now she has developed feelings for the Commodore and things have happened between them that I don't love personally in a romance, but this is a dark romance. Very, very dark. Pam Godwin has taken you there. She has taken you there. And for me, I'm just like, I don't love it, but I don't hate it. Like it's one of those things where I'm just like, I don't know which way she's gonna go with it. It's just, I don't know. I'm just like, for me, this is where my awkwardness comes out. For me, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if I love it. I don't know if I hate it. Like, it's just, I don't know which way she's going to go with it. Let's just say that. I don't know which way she's going to go. And I think for me, I'm just like at the edge of my seat during this whole freaking book. This book is damn stressful. I'm going to say that. It is stressful. If you're going into this romance thinking it's going to be like, oh, light and fluffy, no, the dark should tell you right away. It is the most stressful romance that you could possibly mingle your way through. And she's just gotten captured by the Commodore's higher ranked officers ship, and she's gotten taken aboard another ship, and she just got put into like this what do they call it, like another dungeon where like 3 other women have been like chained and tied up and they have like died. And I'm just like totally stressing out for her. So it's one of those things where she's chained up, gagged, and naked. Like that is like the extent of like how crazy and stressful this whole situation is. And I'm literally like, oh my gosh, I thought my biggest concern would be like the romance and like her being with multiple partners. No, my biggest concern with like is just survival at this point. Her surviving like chains and her surviving like men, her surviving like anything, just everything that's happening. And it's just so much just from start to finish. So I've finished up to chapter 36, I think, 36. And I think I'm going to just shell out the rest and you will get my final thoughts on it. Hopefully I can hammer it down some final thoughts to this. But yeah, right now I am stressed. I am stressed to the max. It is very awkward. Some of the scenes are a little bit much for me. I mean, I'm definitely, I'd say I wasn't a tame reader, but this is definitely outside my wheelhouse. It has a lot of interesting elements to it. It definitely is dark romance. Absolutely. You know what you're getting when you're walking into this. So I did expect some of this, but it gets real dark real fast. So I'm going to finish up and I will get back to you guys. See you soon. Okay, everyone, I have finished The Sea of Ruin and I have thoughts. I have some thoughts. I'm going to put them together. I don't want to make this too much longer because I feel like I could probably talk for another, no joke, 20 minutes. But we'll start with, okay, we have the main heroine, Bennett. We have the Commodore, which is Ashley. And then we have the King of Libertine, which is Priest. Okay, so I've got the names. I've got the names for you guys. I wrote them down because I was like, as soon as we're done with this book, I will not remember them. So I need to write them down now. So I did do that. Okay, so thoughts. Let's go over thoughts. Some of my thoughts of the overall book. Okay, before we get into that, before we even go down that road, I want to talk about like the progression of the book and where we left off, where she kind of got taken to the commander's ship. Well, she gets taken to the commander's ship and totally gets raped. I get really mad at the Commodore, which is Ashley, for letting her go to the commander's ship, knowing that that could have happened to her. I was really irritated about that with him. Like, how do you not know that she's a pirate captain? She's going to your commander's ship. There is going to be a possibility that she's going to get raped. And she does. And I almost get mad at Ashley for that. I'm like, how could you let her go on that ship? But he saves her. He ends up killing that guy. And then a whole bunch of stuff happens. And this book just kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time. Like, I was just like, what can possibly happen next? And then the next thing happens. And then the rolling destroyer and Ashley's saving Bennett. And like, it literally is just like one thing after another. Yeah, I'm just going to say this. I absolutely adored this story. It was bomb. I mean, Pam Godwin wrote a fabulous story. It was so good. I was like on the edge of my seat the whole time. I was literally like, what's happening next? Oh my gosh. Like, it was so much more. Like, her actual storyline was bomb. Like, it was just so good. I mean, from when she's trying to open the compass and she's getting beat to crap and like she's trying to survive that. I mean, it was literally the whole time. All I think was like, what was it? Like Survivor. Like, she just has to survive each thing that she gets into. And it was just really, really good, really well written, well done. There's just a couple things I wanted to mention. Now, we'll talk first about, what are we going to talk first about? We'll talk first about the main heroine. There was some issues that I did have with main heroine, and I'm going to bring this up right now. She's supposed to be this pirate captain, and I know she's young, but I'm going to talk about her lack of common sense. Like, this girl has like zero common self or self-preservation. Like, there was times where she's like, oh, I have a plan. And I have a plan in my mind. Guys, follow me in this plan. And then it's like she doesn't have the plan. The plan is gone. Like, it's like she had a plan, but then the plan didn't work out. We didn't know what the plan was. It was like her common sense wasn't really there a lot of the time. So I was like, interesting. Second thing I thought was really interesting, which I kind of wanted to see a little bit more of his character, was the first mate. I think his name was Renaud, I think was his name. I really wish we would have saw more of him. I feel like he really loved the captain and whatnot, but he wasn't included in the menage. And I really wish we would have seen more of his character. I really liked his character. We didn't really get to see a lot of him. So I thought we'd see more of him in this side of the book, and we just didn't. So that was one thing. And then, I really loved how she used like allergies and oranges. Like, that to me was just like so genius. So genius how she used oranges for certain things to incorporate other things in the book. And I was just like, that was just, I would have never thought of that. And I thought that was bomb. She did really well with that. I really enjoyed that part. And then I always say favorite line I liked of the book. Favorite line, honestly, was when she was being carried off after she was beaten, and she was passed to her doctor that they ended up saving from a slave ship. And he's like, today is not your day. And I'm just like, Yeah, damn straight. Today is not your day to die. And it was just like so good. I mean, this story was really bomb. It was just really, really bomb. I loved it. I loved the dark elements to it. I mean, the rape was really hard for me to get through. I'm not gonna lie. But then we are going to talk about the menage. I saved it till the end. People want to know my reactions to it. I know you guys do. The steam was very steamy. I mean, more than what I'm used to, okay? I mean, I learned a few things from this. Oh my goodness. The steam was just like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I have a couple thoughts to it. One would be like, I don't know if people felt like this after they read this book, but I felt like Ashley, the Commodore, and Priest, the King of Libertines, could have been a couple on their own. I mean, I know they were making it a menage, so Bennett, the pirate captain, was in there, but I feel like they had such a huge chemistry that I almost felt like they could have been a couple on their own, and then like she kind of came in, and I get it, you made it in a menage, and I applaud you for that for sure. But I feel like they had such huge chemistry that I was just like, interesting. I didn't know how she was going to incorporate it, and she did, and it was good. But it was just like, I could feel that chemistry just between the two of them, and I was just like, it was bomb. I could have seen them as a book by themselves, hands down. If I was reading a menage, this was actually a good one to like, I wouldn't say a good one to kick into because there were so many things about it being dark, but it was a good one for me because it had so many other elements going on that the main focus wasn't her coupling with all different guys. Like it was literally her like trying to survive all these different traumas. And I just love that. I love that in a sense to where it was more than just a romance. It was like you got all these other elements to it, which is amazing. Would I recommend this as like, if you love menages, this is your book. Pick this up immediately. Obviously, if you're watching this, you've already read it. If you're thinking about reading it and you wanted to watch this first and just get to the end of this, yes, if you love menages, this would be your book, hands down. Let's pretend you're like interested in menages and aren't sure. I don't know if this would be the book I would start you out with. I liked it for the fact that there was a lot of elements going on in it without like really focusing. Like the menage was the huge twist. So like literally that was the twist. So you wouldn't even know there was a menage till the end. So it's kind of like a sneak in the menage type thing, but it worked. It made sense. I knew it was coming because people had forewarned me about it. But if I didn't know it was coming, would I have handled it so smoothly? I don't know. For me personally, I don't know if I'd pick up another menage. I guess it would have to be really highly, highly recommended. It's just not something I enjoy to read because it does have that element of like someone being left out. And I always feel bad when someone's left out. I don't know. Because during the times, and I'm just going to use this as an example, during the times when Priest and Ashley, during the times that Priest and Ashley, they would have their like camaraderie and they'd get up and have their little conversations without Bennett. And I'm like, I just felt the rapport more. So always felt like maybe there was an odd man out. I don't know. Like, I don't know a lot about menages. but that's the feelings I got from this. But other than that, this was really well written. Sea of Ruin. My rating for it for Goodreads would probably land to be about 4.4, 4.5 for this book, just because I had little issues with the heroine and I had little issues with common sense wise for like the hero allowing her to be taken on another cruise or another captain's ship, you know, like little issues like that. But other than that, it was really well written and I really did enjoy it. So yes, this is my talk of Sea of Ruin. I'm glad you guys hung out with me for a little bit. This is going to be a really long vlog. I can't wait to do another vlog because I feel like this was a lot of fun for me. It took a day out of my life. I got to read the book and then take a break from it and talk to you guys. So this was a lot of fun. Please put comments below if you read this. Well, obviously, if you're watching this, you've read it, but put comments below what you liked about The Sea of Ruin and what you thought of it. Everybody I talked to has really enjoyed it. I think it was really well written. So, I mean, I definitely want to read more Pam Godwin for sure. I just have to be careful about what I pick up because, again, I have to be prepped because going into those rape scenes, then when I knew about them, it was not easy for me, but I was prepared. I was mentally prepared. So that was helpful. But anyway, other than that, it was such a good book. I enjoyed it. And yeah, also, I just wanted to mention to you guys that Pam will be on Chris's channel on March 25th. So on March 25th, we will be interviewing Pam. I'm not sure what time, but all that will be on my Instagram page. I will link my Instagram page down below. So we will be talking with Pam about these books, which I'm very, very excited about. So as always, I hope you guys are doing well and having a fab day. If you guys like the content of this video, please like and subscribe down below. And until next time, we'll talk soon. Bye, guys.
You're like a circle that floats around me, keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you tied a rope to me.